I work 70 hours a week to put bread on my table, to take care of my family, and all I hear is this, my mother-in-law bickering inside of my ear all day, and I can't take it anymore, so I'm going to do this. Should I move back in with my mom due to my mother-in-law's bad treatment? Have you ever eaten food that was so bad that you got sick nearly every day? That's what I have to deal with for the past couple of weeks, and I finally have had enough. I've tried to stay quiet, thinking that the first couple of times it was a mistake, but it was clear this was no mistake. It's deliberate. My mother-in-law has been serving me the worst food ever because she has little respect for me. You would think that since I'm the breadwinner, she would treat me a lot better. However, she does not care. In fact, she seems to resent me for being the sole provider of the family. She does not think of the fact that if I do not work, then we would starve. Her own son has not worked in the past year and cannot find a job. I'm working nearly 70 hours per week in order to keep this family afloat. In addition to my job, I also work a second job on odd days of the week so that we can pay our bills. Well, without that, we could easily fall into debt. The only thing that I request from her is that I have a decent meal ready for me when I get home. I barely eat throughout the day because I'll be so busy and stressed. I have the kind of stress that can cause me to lose my appetite. When I eat food, it has to be very well cooked, or I will not be able to stomach it. She knows it, but for the past few weeks, she's been burning or undercooking the food even. When I get home, everyone will have finished eating already, so I have to serve myself. The food that she leaves for me is inedible, and I've recently found out that she does it on purpose. One evening, I came home to find 2 plates of food in the fridge. I took one of the plates, warmed them up, and the food was good for once. I was so relieved to eat something that did not cause my stomach to hurt, and that night my sister-in-law came home late from college. She knocked on my door and asked me why I took her food. I told her that we got the same amount of food and she could eat the food that was in the refrigerator. She asked me how could she eat that garbage, she might as well go to bed hungry. I thought she was overreacting since my mother-in-law cooked good for food that night. So I tried out the remaining food and nearly lost the food I had already eaten. Gosh, it was terrible. Like there was some added spices and so much salt. I looked at her and told her that, well, she better make herself something else because that food belonged in the trash. The next day I confronted my mother-in-law about it at breakfast. She made a sound of annoyance and told me not to bother her with nonsense. She said that she was doing me a favor by cooking for me and letting me stay in her house, and she did not need to. She added that if the food that she cooked was not good enough for me, then it was better for me to move back in with my mom, and that was the end of the discussion. I spoke to my husband about it when he was just taking me to work, and Callan apologized and said that he would speak to her about it. He said that I had just to try to hang on till she found a job. At the moment, we have no choice but to stay with her. Getting our own place in this city will be impossible with only one income. The deposit alone is an arm and a leg. It was never supposed to be like this. After we got married, we had a lease on a nice apartment in town. We had everything ready to move in, but then disaster struck. Callan ended up in a terrible car crash and could not work for a bit. He actually suffered brain damage and could not speak properly for quite a while. We lost our rental because we had no money. We couldn't afford to pay for it. His mom offered to let us stay with her till Callan recovered. We've been staying with her for almost a year now, and Callan's condition has greatly improved and he's back to normal. But it's so hard for him to find a job. Every time he finds one, the recruiters call and say that they found someone else, or the position is no longer available. This has been very depressing for us because we really needed our own space. Living with my mother-in-law has its ups and downs. She does not make me do household work because I'm always at work. However, whatever she says goes. No discussions, no questions. I cannot challenge her as I'm also a guest in her home. I am the only one that's working in the family and she gets a pension fund, but it's not that much. My sister-in-law is in college and she's hardly at the house as she'll be attending lectures and studying. She's a very hard worker and has a lot of potential, so I fully support her and help with the little that I can. Right now, life is stagnant. My husband and I are going nowhere. We have nothing of our own, and we live in a house where we have to say no to everything. Now, my mother-in-law is angry with me and told me to go back to my mother's house, and it makes me sad that she hates me like this. It's clear that she's been making terrible food like that on purpose, and she knows that I will not leave to go stay with my mom. My mom and I have serious issues because, at the moment, she did not support me getting married because of the fact that I have to give up a very good job out of the country for my husband. She told me that if I got married, I would be trapped in this town and not go anywhere in life. I told her that money was not everything. My love for Callan is something that I will not find if I search the whole wide world. The thought of losing him to a job, it just broke me. What would have been the point of earning a lot of money when I would be so lonely? Well, when I told her that I was choosing love over my job, she told me that I was making a mistake. She even tried to go behind my back to tell Callan that he was holding me back. When I found out about it, I told her that I did not want her to be at my wedding. We haven't spoken since then, and both of us are too stubborn to reach out. I would never move back in with her because she would tell me that she told me so. She would tell me that if I've chosen that job and asked him to wait for me, I would not have been crying. I have to make this work. There's no room for failure. So I'm going to hang out and tolerate my mother-in-law until I get to the point where we can move out. Both Callan and I have been applying to so many jobs since he recovered. We're praying that one day he'll get a job and we'll be able to get a place of our own. Then I will not have to go work so much, and we can focus on our marriage. At this point, we're like glorified roommates. I see him when I come back from work and early in the morning when he drives me to work. Sometimes he's able to use the car to give people lifts around town, but there's not much business in this town. But hey, it'll be okay one day. I'm just going to keep hoping. I just need a pep talk right now because I'm so close to giving in. I cannot give in. We're all relying on me to be able to keep it together. I wish that I've been able to go back in time and stop Callan from leaving the house that day so that he could have avoided being hit by that car. The worst part is the car fled the scene, so we could not press charges. Update number 1. I have failed. All my resolve and grit has ran out, and I'm back where I started. A couple days ago, I humbled myself and knocked on my mother's door. I figured that if I did not leave at some point, then my mother-in-law was going to end up hurting me. I'm fully convinced that she's trying to kick me out. She does not care about money. She just wants me out of the house completely. Well, yeah, she has won this time, and I'm not about to risk my life. And guess what? My husband even understands, even though his hands are tied right now. He's promised that we're going to figure this out, even though our moms are making it absolutely impossible. I'm not looking forward to moving back in with my mom. I'm still waiting for her lecture about the mistakes that I've made by moving out. When I went to her to ask for a place to stay, she said it was fine, and I just had to let her know when I was going to move in. I had to move a couple things around, but now I'm finally going to move in with her. I'm spending my last hours with my husband, and my mom refused to let him also move in with us. She said that it's not appropriate, so he's going to stay there, and I'm going to send him money for basic necessities every single month. My mother told me that she was not going to charge me rent. She wants me to save up money and then get a place of my own in about 6 months. Well, yeah, I guess that's pretty fair. It's fair enough. At least in my mother's house, my life will not be in danger. What prompted me to move out was the fact that my mother-in-law left expired cordial for me. I woke up in a sweat, unable to move, and I felt so sick. I missed a whole day of work and had to go to the hospital. My husband checked the food that I've been eating the previous night and noticed that the cordial was expired. He was so scared he told me that I had to get out of there. He told me that he never knew his mother could go so far. But he said that for my safety, it's better for me to stay with my mom while we just figure things out. When I got home, his mother would not even look me in the eyes. It turned out that my husband went off on her and told her that she must be careful before she actually lost her son. So she won. Her son is hers now, and, well, the intruder that is her daughter-in-law is out of the house. But she must know that soon my husband and I are going to get our own place and leave her with her horrible food to herself. Update number 2. Even though I've moved out, I cannot seem to escape the blight that's my mother-in-law. She's looming over my marriage like a dark cloud, and because of her, I've decided that something has to give. We cannot remain stagnant like this, and I don't know what her problem is, but she seems very determined to ruin her son's marriage. Well, I'm not having it. This time, what she's done has made even my mother angry. This brought forth a new milestone in my relationship with my mother. While things have been awkward since I moved in, they have gotten much better, and I can almost say that we both regret the things that we have said to each other in the past. It's not much, but it's something, and with that aside, let me tell you what my mother-in-law did this time. Before I moved out, I ordered a chest of drawers for my and my husband's room. It's tiny, and there's hardly any space, so I just figured getting some drawers would help with the clutter. I put our address as the delivery address, but I never got the drawers. The tracking said that it's been delivered, but no one in the house received them. It got to the point where I was fighting with both the shipping company and the company that I bought it from. But in the end, I got some shop credit and apology from the shipping company. I forgot about it and ended up moving out anyways. That was until my sister-in-law posted a video of her making her mom breakfast for Mother's Day. She took a video of herself making the food and presented it to her mom. In the shot where her mom was reacting to the food, I got a glimpse of the chest of drawers that I bought. So I sent my sister-in-law a message. Attached to it was a screenshot of the drawers and my order summary. I then asked her when her mother got the chest of drawers because it looked like mine. She said that she did not know, maybe a few months ago, and she said she did not know much that went on in the house because she was always at school. I decided to go and confront my mother-in-law. My mom came with me, for she was also enraged by what my mother-in-law has done. It was a welcome surprise to see her be the mother bear that I've known her to always be. She said that my mother-in-law was incredibly disrespectful and needed to be taught a lesson not to mess with me. When we got there, she was home and we confronted her about it. She was unfazed and said that she bought them with her own money and did not know what I was even talking about. She ended up arguing with my mom and they exchanged some heated words. While they were arguing, I decided to go up to her room and inspect the drawers. They were the drawers that I bought. There's no question to it. Well, it would make sense that she got the order and decided not to tell me. She watched me make a fool of myself while she had the drawers to herself, and I took a picture and sent it to my husband, who had surprisingly been offline for the whole day. I then checked the back of the drawers, and sure enough, I got the serial number and checked it against the one that I bought. It was a match. I called the movers that I had on standby and dumped all of my mother-in-law's clothes on her bed. When I got downstairs, she was trying to physically attack my mother, but soon realized it was futile. My mom is way stronger than she is, and she's kept a strict exercise regimen for years. She just had to restrain her, and she was powerless. The movers arrived in almost record time, and I got them to take the drawers to my house, and we left. Later that day, my husband sent me a message apologizing for what his mom has done. He says that he stood up to her when she tried to get me arrested. He told her that she should be ashamed of herself for doing something like that to me when I've been nothing but good to her. He then told her that he was going to leave her house before the end of the month, whether she liked it or not. He said that she started crying, as she often does when she knows that, well, she's not going to get her way. This time he was unfazed by it, and he said that the more he saw his mom treat me like this, the more he realized that she was not as great as he once thought. He said that he felt like he was in a prison in her house. While she loved him a lot, she clung to him and seemed jealous when he would spend time with other people. He added that it's been like that growing up since he lost his father. She clearly has some unresolved trauma in her head that's not letting her move on and let her son go. However, that does not justify how terrible she's been towards me. I'm done tolerating it. My husband said that there's a chance for him to get a good job, and then we can move out. Well, I'm hoping so, I really am. Update number 3, 3 months later. Oh boy, how the tables have turned. I'm in utter shock at the way that life's been turning around in less than 3 months. I knew that all the pain and suffering were not for nothing. It was all leading to something, and that something was now here. For me, it's a time for celebration, while for my mother-in-law, it's a time to cry. My husband got no money for his accident, or so he thought. It turns out he actually did. He just did not know it. He found out that his mom stole his money about 3 months ago, and this is how she's been able to sustain the family without me. He got a job out of town where he would have to work there for several months before he could come back. It was a very good job with a very good salary, so I encouraged him to just go for it. Before he left, he came to have dinner with my mom. My mom and I have made a lot of progress over these months, and we're so happy together now. I've not had to work so hard because my mother said I don't have to pay the bills, any of them. She does most of the cooking, most of the cleaning, and my job is to go to work, come back, and rest. Sometimes I join her when she's working out, which is a wonderful opportunity for us to bond. Most days my husband visits or sleeps over. His mom's always livid when he does that, but there's nothing that she can do about it. He and my mom have slowly began to build a relationship, and he's been a very good person at sucking up. Watering the garden, doing some things around the house. Well, when he came over for dinner, my mom made an utterly scrumptious 3-course meal for him. She was wishing him luck and confessed that in the past she thought that getting married would hold me back, but she was wrong. She appreciated the way that he treated me and the little things that he was willing to do for me. She said that she was confident that soon he would be able to take me out of her home and move me to a home of our own. I was so happy when she said that. It made me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. At least she approved of him. After that, he went home and started packing, which is when he called me in the middle of the night telling me what his mom has done. She gave him a bag to pack some of his clothes in, forgetting that was the bag that she had hidden the paperwork for his money that she stole. He saw his signature on the paperwork, of which he does not remember signing anything. Guys, she got $100,000 and kept it to herself. It was paid out just a few weeks before she got me to move out, and he did not waste time in confronting her. She admitted to it. How could she not? He then told her that she was going to have to send all the money that remained to me. If she did not, then he was going to get her arrested. He must have been very convincing because she ended up sending the money to me days later. He was already gone, starting his new job by then, and he told me to keep the money. He would send money every month as well, so we saved up and saved up and saved up for months, till we had enough money for a down payment on an apartment. The only problem we had was whether we would stay in our town or I would move there. For months, we weighed the pros and cons till we decided that I was going to stay in our town. He did some asking around in the company and found out that there was a branch of the company in the next town over. It would be a 30-minute drive for him, but it was better than where he was, which was 8 hours away. So we paid our down payment for a beautiful apartment, and I moved out of my mother's house and have been working on making our house a home. He's coming home in 3 months, and I need the months to move faster. It's been too long since I saw him. Being away from the person that I love has made me appreciate him even more, as well as the sacrifices that we have both made. Before I got married, I was not as strong as I am right now. I would have already crumbled if it was the old me, but something's changed in the past year, something that makes me even more resilient and determined to make it work. We've had so much working against us, our family's great misfortune and arguments, and sometimes I cried myself to sleep because he just did not understand the pain that I was in due to his mom. But now, it just seems that things are going to get so much better. We finally have our own little corner of the world. We're both thriving in our respective corners of the world, and my mother accepts him. Even then, I do feel an overwhelming sense of dread. Like it's not over yet. Maybe I'm just anxious and not used to the things being so easy after going through all of this hell. So I'm going to do what my mom said and think positive thoughts. What I put out into the world is what I will get back. Update number 4. Hey guys. Well, I was right, for it was not over yet. When my husband came back, his mother came to visit us, and she was not happy with me. She told my husband that because of me she was suffering. She had lost a lot of weight and seemed a shadow of her former self. She asked him why he never sent her money when he was away at work, and he told her that he's not forgiven her for what she has done. In fact, she never even apologized, and she only sent me the money because she did not want the humiliation of being sent to jail. She then asked if she could speak with me privately, and I thought she was going to apologize, so I agreed to talk. She told me that a lot had happened, and a lot of people's feelings were hurt. She loved her son more than anybody in the world, and wanted to make sure that he was always happy. She said that being without a contact with him made her feel like she was losing her husband all over again. I told her that while I appreciate her admitting that what she did was wrong, I was not sure that her apologizing was going to fix everything. And then she went on to say that she was an old person, prone to make mistakes, and I asked her how stealing from her own son could have been a mistake. I mean, I was tired of this back and forth with her over the same thing over and over again. She said that it took a lot of her to apologize to someone, and she was offering her apology. I told her that I could not give fake forgiveness. If I forgave her for his sake, I would still not be able to trust her. I needed peace, and she was far, far from that. She then told me that it was impossible to be alone. I reminded her that she had my sister-in-law with her. She asked me if I had not heard what happened. Well, I guess I didn't really pay much attention to gossip, so I had no idea what happened to my sister-in-law. She told me that my sister-in-law decided to go live on campus. When she found out what her mother did, she was disgusted. She could not stand to be by her. Her own brother had cut off contact with his family because of her. So she packed her bags and left, blocking her mom. So my mother-in-law was now left alone in that house with no stable source of income and with kids that hated her. She claimed that it was a very reflective period for her and made her want to change. Another person would have melted due to her acts, but I was not that person. I told her that she would have to do so much more for me to even consider forgiving her, and then I told her to leave. After that, she would not leave me alone. Every day it escalated to the point of madness, and we told her to leave us alone, but she would not. She was begging us to take her in. Being alone was killing her. But my heart could not allow me to stay with the person who almost led to my death. My husband respected that and agreed with it, and we could not stay with her. She was no longer a part of the family. She had so many chances to change, but she never did. She said that she did not need time or me to stay with her, right? Well, you know what? Okay, then enjoy your freedom. The last message that she sent me was by far the most chilling. I didn't tell my husband because I didn't want to worry him. She told me that since I would not allow her to be in her son's life, I could not be in my own children's lives. It almost feels like she's threatening me. Final update. Her so-called prophecy came to fruition. It was the very last straw that caused my husband to finally send her away, never to be seen again. She claims that she had nothing to do with what happened to me. Maybe that is the case, but we cannot take any chances. Her words that I could not see the survival of my own kids rang true when 2 weeks later I had a miscarriage. I did not even know that I was pregnant, and I thought that my cycle was irregular due to stress, which I did not know was the whole time me being pregnant. When I miscarried, it was the first time I found out that I was pregnant, and I remembered her words and told my husband. I told him that her presence caused me so much stress that I ended up miscarrying, which is true. When I got to the hospital, my blood pressure was through the roof. That morning, I had seen her at the mall, and we had an argument. So I told her that soon I would file a restraining order against her, and Callan was absolutely distraught by what happened to me, and he vowed that I would never have to see her again. The next week, her house was up for sale, and she was gone. Callan said that she was very sorry about the words she uttered. She did not do so with meaningfulness. She did it in anger. He told her that she should have never put those words into the world. She might as well have cursed me. Now he's so scared that he doesn't want me to carry another child. He says we can either adopt or get a surrogate. But he is scared of what will happen to me. To be honest, I'm scared too. I'm not a person who's usually so invested in superstition, but her words have been stuck in my mind since she left. I hope that she spends the rest of her days alone at that old age home. She's brought too much pain and suffering to the ones that she claims to love. Even her own daughter had to get out of her house because she was so horrified by her actions. So let me know what you would have done in my position. Well, this mother-in-law was definitely a villain. I mean, the things that she did and the things that she said to OP towards the end of the story about how she'll never see her kids anyways. It was disgusting and it made my skin crawl to even hear what she was saying. But at the end of the day, OP and OP's husband took theirself out of this toxic situation that they found themselves in and got far away from her and put her into an old age home. I want to know your thoughts about that and what exactly you would have done if you were in OP's husband Jay's position. I want to talk about it in the comment section down below, so let's discuss it down there. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every single day. If you guys enjoyed today's video, the two best ways to support the channel is super quick and super easy. Press that like button and also subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, and of course remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.